Hello viewers, Adam here,
And I'm Aaron.
and this is Seeking Media Productions. In this video, we're going to discuss a very important subject.
Why is DC failing us?
It's been a very disappointing run so far for the so-called DC Extended Universe, as they call it.
It's not a universe. I don't see DC right now. I'm seeing a broken, shattered image of what a DC product is supposed to be.
Warner Brothers really need to get on the ball because let's just say that they are far, far behind from what they are trying to be.
Look, let's just put it out there. Yes, Marvel's doing a hell of a great job right now. They're not doing the best job in the world, but they got a hell of a lot of movies out there, and they're doing what they need to do in order to push their franchise ahead. I can't say the same for DC. Let's start with the major problem with this guy. Let's kick this whole thing off in the beginning. DC, for the longest, have only produced movies that centered around two major characters. Those characters being Batman, of course, and Superman.
Two characters that are, I'll say, is arguably the most iconic figures in comic book history.
They are the precipice of what a superhero should be.
What happened?
Well, let's look at it. You start off with your cartoon shows, and then you got your live action shows that came before them, being with, Adam West portraying the Batman in the 70s, and then you have the old Superman serials that came out before him. Fast forward a little bit, you start getting your Tim Burton movies that start a new, fresh take on The Dark Knight, which brought him back from the goofiness that Adam West TV series actually brought in. And now you're looking at a more, still kind of comic bookish kind of Batman, but at the same time, he's dark. He has complex natures that's going around him, and all around it was a pretty good series. At least I would say 1 and 2. We're not even going to count the other ones that came afterwards. So,
and you got the unveil from Superman, who from the start has always been popular. He started off in very early as a cartoon, one of my favorite beloved cartoons from the Fletchers and the Famous Studios. And then fast forward from there, people start seeing him on television, the George Reeves, and eventually it became a live action picture of Christopher Reeve, and that's pretty much the embodiment of what most people perceive Superman to be.
But now you have to fast forward a little bit. People are starting to get tired. Don't get me wrong. Batman and Superman are always going to be characters that everybody can get into. Why? Because pretty much anybody who knows anything about a superhero are going to almost grow up knowing something about who Superman is and who Batman is, regardless of whether they're a new audience to it or not. The problem with these characters right now is that those are, for the longest, the only ones that had any real attention, despite the vast repertoire of characters that exist in the DC universe. We're just now seeing a wave of of characters who, for the most part, diehard fans have always loved and adored, finally making an appearance on both the small screen and the silver screen.
And now they're trying to rush it and trying to bombard as many characters as they can just to make a quick buck out of them, not caring about their source material and not caring about the whole product as a whole.
Let's go and take this into where the new DC franchise has started, with Man of Steel. Now, Man of Steel stars Henry Cavill, Lawrence Fishburne, Amy Adams, and what's the last guy?
Michael Shannon.
Oh yes, Michael Shannon. The movie is yet another reboot to the Superman mythos. But this time, there's a twist! In a society in which Kryptonians actually create artificial life to sustain themselves, the character Kal-El, who later becomes Clark Kent, is the first Kryptonian in their history, after thousands of years, to be actually born, instead of born in a test tube somewhere.
Quite changed in the mythos.
A welcome change, because it actually explains what the heck the firstborn son will actually mean.
And for the most part, it's a pretty standard premise.
I mean, you got a young Superman coming into his own, trying to figure out who he is and what his place is in the universe. But the movie takes it to such a dull and gray kind of area.
Superman, to me, is a very balanced character, and how they portray it is very bleak, and like he doesn't know what to do with himself.
I'm ready for him to actually stand up for himself, and he never really does that. I mean, he has little moments of where he's a, cocky guy. He's, look at me, I'm doing all this stuff. What you gonna do about it? But he's always taken back after. Okay, I bumped over a building. My bad.
Does he even enjoy what he's doing?
I know I would. I'm flying around the city, halfway into the sky, lifting things over my head.
And you try to take a spin on these characters that people know and love, and you shouldn't try to make Superman something he's not.
Now, let's take it back a little bit. We're not trying to say this movie didn't have good points. It really did. It had amazing special effects, stuff that we haven't seen in movies in quite some time, especially with the whole fight scene situation. I love the character of Zod, who actually, for the most part, was one of the most compelling superhero villains brought to the screen.
Aside from Theora.
Yeah, Theora was amazing. And she was in the movie hardly at all. I mean, except for the scenes that Zod was in, and you can count that up to what? Maybe
the first awesome 20 minutes of the movie, and then the last third.
And keep in mind, this is supposed to be the precursor to what they're supposed to be making into a franchise. At the end of the day, this movie was just okay. It wasn't really something. I mean, I could go back and I could watch it for the scenes that I liked, but will I sit down and watch the full film from start to finish?
No.
Batman v Superman. My God, what a mess. It's terrible. I mean, talk about not learning from your mistakes. This film literally does nothing good for this franchise.
The DC. Hold on, I thought Man of Steel was supposed to be the precursor of the DC universe, right?
Yeah, Man of Steel was, but then it looks like they're trying to retract themselves and try to redo it in this film just because, my God, we got Batman back. Batman's going to save us. Well, guess what? Batman can't save the day all the damn time. But he's not the Batman you know. No, this Batman, he ain't nobody I want to meet in a dark alley. I'm sorry.
Like, if the intention was to make Batman scarier and embossed, then sure, why not?
Oh, yeah, this one is pretty damn scary. I mean, I almost left the film and I almost had a damn nightmare because of it. I mean, talk about somebody who really takes the law into their hands.
And not to say that it's a bad thing, because unfortunately enough, the controversy before the film is pretty much where the story of this film starts at. Because right out the bat, people want to know who was going to play Batman.
And of course, everybody around the world, at least anybody who cared about Batman, was up in arms because guess who they picked as him? Ben Affleck.
And oh God, people thought it was going to be another Daredevil scenario back in 2003.
And let's be honest, I totally thought that, I didn't have the most positive reassurance that Ben Affleck was going to do a good job myself. Personally, I felt just as much as anybody else did out there who had fears. My God, what have they done? But here's the kicker. Ben Affleck was not one of the major problems going into this.
Trust me. The real problem in this movie is Jesse Eisenberg.
My God, what a horrible choice to pick for Lex Luthor.
He was completely miscast. I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder had all the rights to freaking cast this guy. For a movie that's supposed to be about the clashing, conflicting ideologies between Superman and Batman, how they both save the world in their own different way, Superman doesn't really have anything to say in this movie.
Well, nobody really had anything to say in this movie. This movie was really just a whole build-up towards the last fight in the movie, which at the end wasn't even really all that satisfying.
Oh, what?
It was over just that quickly, and in the most ridiculously way possible.
Like referring back to them trying to put in a whole bunch of things in this movie, you have them trying to reference as many different storylines from the comic books as possible.
And not earning them.
I'm afraid to say that as a DC fan, I was appalled. And as a film goer, I'm even more disappointed because
I was disgusted with this film.
this film is completely inaccessible to most people because aren't you supposed to reintroduce these characters into a new audience?
And we're not trying to say introduce these characters in a small snippet in the movie where you show them on a flash drive snippets of collections of videos. That was so stupid. And then, well, let's get into the point that this is the first time you actually get to see Wonder Woman come out to play in the cinematic universe.
Now, people, everyone says Wonder Woman was spotlighting stuff, and she has a few scenes in the movie, yes. Yeah. But the thing is, I feel as though she was completely unneeded.
She was not. Yeah, there was no point of having this beautiful character in this film, and that was pretty much the whole feel of this movie. Was there ever a real point for it?
Like the plot of Lex Luthor, it makes no sense why he was able to know how many things he knew about the Kryptonian shit. Like, how did he freaking find out everyone's secret identities? The first off,
why is the fact that their mothers having the same name ends the fight?
Like, the name that's in the comics.
I mean, yeah, fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's lazy in the comics for the most part. I mean, let's just be honest. Why is everybody's name got Martha in it? Who's mom? Why is all the characters got Martha as a mom? That's like whatever.
Like for a movie that had no, like, it was like very dark and dull in itself, that could have just been passed off as a joke.
It made really poor, stupid mistakes, and there was no exact reason for it. There was no excuse for it.
And pretty much enough has been said about this movie.
It's just bad. After this shit show, you hear that they're trying to do the Suicide Squad.
This was supposed to be the saving grace of the DCEU.
I had so much high hopes for this film. I really wanted it to succeed.
And unfortunately,
it doesn't.
For the film as a whole, it's a movie that should have worked. I'll say that. It is one step, only half a step better than Batman v Superman. But the thing is, whoever's doing the editings in these movies need to be fired.
That's for all the movies that's in this though. I mean,
Warner Brothers, they have a problem with their creative department, they have a problem with their behind the scenes department, and is very suffering for this franchise.
And now going into the shit show that is to be Justice League.
And before that, a Wonder Woman movie.
Now, don't get me wrong. From the trailer that I saw for Wonder Woman, yes, it looks pretty damn good. But we have been deceived before. Suicide Squad looked amazing. And now look what is going on with it.
Like, you have scenes that were clearly cut out from the film. Particularly the ones with Joker. Played by Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm. It almost feels as though quantity matters, not quality. And there is a serious problem when that is the case.
Maybe the only way that these studios, and particularly Warner Bros. In question, can deliver a good product is to actually think of it as a good product.
DC needs to take a moment. It needs to sit down, catch its breath, and it needs to reevaluate what it really wants.
You had 3 chances. One for Man of Steel, which was just okay. And then just recently, from 2016, Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, which are bad films in their own right.
The message that I want to bring out to them right now is that you have an amazing product with you right now. Put a little heart into it and seriously consider what you're going to do with it. Because if you don't care, why should I?
Thanks for watching, people. This is the Seeking Media Productions. This is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And we'll be back with you soon.
As always, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.